You are now tuned in to Discussions with Dena.
Welcome. I am Dena, and this is Discussions with Dena. I want to welcome you, and I hope welcome. I am Dena, and this is Discussions with Dena. I want to welcome you, and I hope that you and yours are finding this yourself in the best of health and in the best of prosperity. I know today we are dealing with a lot of stuff with the coronavirus and things like that. It's taking a lot out of us, so it is good to be able to speak with those that can, in fact, that are alive and able to hear me. So I'm wishing you the best. Now today I wanted to speak because I saw something that caught my eyes. It was interesting to me. Now, during these difficult times, I say again that it becomes unbearable when you're dealing with a lot of death and destruction around you. There's a lot of events that are going on around us today, and it makes it difficult sometimes to concentrate on what we take for granted. But I want everyone to know that in the midst of everything that's going on, we have to know that this too will pass. It's just like what Bobby Womack said. We have to put up with the toils and strife. So I am wishing you peace and blessings. Now, let me get to why I wanted to make this particular commentary. And I want to invite you to press the subscribe button, like and share this podcast, and you can listen to Discussions with Dena on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Now, I also want to invite you to join me on Fridays after midnight for Discussions with Dena After Dark. Now, today I wanted to speak on a subject that is near and dear to me. And as you see, the title of this commentary is Slavery, Reparations, and Anti-Diaspora Descendant Sentiments by Other Blacks. And I wanted to explain just a little bit what I meant by that title. I'm speaking about Black people who made the choice to immigrate to America from other countries that they are from, they are native to, like those on the continent of Africa, or those that live in places like Jamaica or Haiti. Those Black people had a choice of whether or not they would come to America. But those of us who are here and are descendants, we didn't have a choice of whether we would come here or not. Because we were stolen. Our ancestors were stolen and forced to come here to America. And they were stolen by Caucasians or white people, like those of us who have been here. We've learned this, and many of us, even though we don't accept that truth, it is truth. It is true. This is factual. Those of us living today in America who descended from stolen Africans and were brought to America had to face some of the most heinous, inhumane treatment that any human being had to face or were prone to. There was never a people on this planet whose very humanity was taken away by another group of people. Our language, our God taken, our knowledge of self, and our knowledge of our people, it was taken. Our dignity and pride, our ability to read and write, our connection to our own tribe, it was taken away from us. Our family of original people that we were stolen from, we had no idea who they were. The ability to do for self and think for self was taken away from us. Even down to our very own clothing, the clothing that were on our bodies. Everything was taken, including our self-worth. It was also taken away. We didn't even have the ability, well, we could protect ourselves, but if you are in a place that you're not familiar with, how far do you think you could get? Everything about us that made us the human beings God put us on the earth to be was taken completely away from us. Everything. So we were given, in place of all of this, that every human being on this earth is born with natural, was taken away, and we were given hell and heartache, and we were treated the worst. And we have to stop pretending as if it didn't occur, or afraid to speak the truth of the diaspora and its effect on our people who were brought here and treated inhumanely. So I use the words tormented and terrorized because that's what happened, and it happened for centuries. Everything taken away. And we forget sometimes who that thief was, who the liar and the murderer, the rapist, the beast and oppressor that perpetrated this crime against us, against our humanity. It was a crime against nature. Admitted. But we both know who this person was. And is. It was the Caucasian, the person we call the white man or the white person. And we often feel embarrassed or we hesitate to speak the truth. And that is part of the reason why we find ourselves in the situations that we're in today. We were turned inside out and upside down any kind of way. We were just completely lost. And the fact today that if you speak of, or those who would speak the truth of our existence and how we were mistreated, our ancestors were mistreated, and it continues to this day. So many of us as Black people would rather not hear it. They don't want to know how we were terrorized and taught to hate ourselves. And we found this great love, and we would like to pretend that everything is fine when it's not. What we are experiencing is called Stockholm Syndrome. And of course, it took centuries to break our minds and bodies. It took centuries, but time was all they had. Now, they needed to torture, rape, and completely destroy us as a people in order to complete their plan to use our strength and abilities to build their white world, using us, our Black people, to build their very own heaven right here on earth, while sentencing our ancestors and their offsprings, and I'm talking about Black stolen people, to pure hell on this earth. Now, these people did not pursue dumb or lazy people to be slaves. No, they knew we were smart, capable, wise, and we had the ability to get done what they needed. And what they needed done was to construct their society. But they knew in our mind, if we were in our right minds, that we would never willingly do what they themselves could not do. So they destroyed us mentally, physically, and spiritually. Like, we have been victims of starvings, rapes, lynching, all manner of torture and terror. And see in the morning till can't see at night. And they had no sympathy for us all through the centuries. These were no other group came to our rescue and demanded that we be freed from bondage. Although there were some who found it inhumane, but no other group just took the fight for our freedom from this bondage. And many others, in fact, participated in slavery and saw what other people enjoyed naturally without being at the mercy of our white oppressors. So to be able to marry, produce children, care for those children, earn a living, just be able to walk down the street without being attacked. This is how bad we were hated. Now, there were Black people that were never stolen. They have no idea, and they cannot relate to us being in bondage and fighting for freedom and simple civil rights that others enjoy. And they can't understand our pain or our suffering at the hands of our white oppressors. Because Black people want to care for their own families. They wanted the same privileges again that everybody else enjoyed. So that's where the marching and the fighting and the developing organizations to fight for our freedoms and our liberation, which leads me to one of the reasons I made the commentary. An entertainer by the name of Akon felt it necessary to speak about what we have had to endure, our experience in our fight for reparations. The fact that we are seeking reparations from the people that caused us pain and treated us inhumanely, and still continue to do that today. We still suffer brutality at the hands of these people even today. But because we chose to demand our rights, we have a problem with that. And one of those people, like I said before, is Akon. Now, Akon was recently on a show called Vlad TV, and he was speaking to Vlad about us And like I said before, we are the people here, the descendants of slaves in America. And this is what he had to say. I want you all to take a listen, because the questions that are being presented to him are from the host of the show, Vlad TV. His name is Vlad, and he's a Caucasian man that claims to be a Jew. Now, I would like for you to take a listen to the conversation.
How do Senegalese really feel about slavery and what happened? Because, there are a lot of very foul people involved in the slave trade. There was, of course, Europeans, Jews and whites were involved. But, Africans were involved in it as well. They were selling off their enemies, the enemy tribes and making their money and so forth. How was slavery really looked at out there?
Well, in Senegal, we've kind of overcome the thought of slavery. We don't even think about it. The only time we think about it, honestly, is when we're doing tours at Rhode Island. Outside of that, people have lived and moved and way beyond the slavery concept and idea in my state.
Right, because in Senegal, you actually know your history. You can trace your family back 100 generations, whatever else. You still have your names, your real names. You're not named Johnson,
and Jackson,
Washington, and all the other slave owners that were the presidents who had slaves during that time, Jefferson, and so forth. Yeah, but you guys actually have your history, and that was the whole thing of walking around Senegal. People just felt, it was the first time I felt black people just felt comfortable and with no type of disease. I
think it's also the art of just letting the past go and moving towards the future. And I think in the U.S., they have this sense of blaming the past on every mishap or, disappointment. And I think as long as you hold on to that past, it's just a lot of weight that you carry with you everywhere you go. And it's hard to move forward and move fast. You got to, weight on your back. You just got to let it go.
There's also been no reparations. And there's been,
Yeah, but unfortunately, man, it's not like America is going to take the initiative to do it. Otherwise they would have did it already. Indians got reparations. The Jews got reparations for Holocaust, and it wasn't even done in America. You know what I'm saying?
Italians got reparations.
Japanese got reparations.
Yeah.
It's just, it's to the point now where African Americans have to really understand their worth and realize that America was never or intended to ever, consult or even make up for any of that. They don't care. It's obvious. So, do you want to stay here and continue to be treated this way, or just go back home? Where you're no longer the minority. You actually are the majority. You control your destiny and your future in the land.
Honestly, every black person who has an issue with how people are treated in America, they really should go to Africa.
They need to. They just need to go.
99% of them have never been there. Yeah.
And they're super brave to go.
Whites have gone back, and John Sally's have gone back. People with money, But the average black person in America has no idea how dope Africa really is.
I'm telling you. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But we do a great job. Because I'm telling you, when we make it, you start thinking.
You know what? Tigers jumping into your hotel.
Right. Their attention is so ridiculous.
Now, what you just heard was Akon speaking on slavery here in the United States and our seeking reparations. Now, whenever we hear black people like him speaking like this, I feel the need to call him out and remind him of our sacrifices that he reaps today as a result of us being here. Now, to say that black people are scared, I don't think most black people are scared, even though white people did do a good job of poisoning us, which was part of keeping us in captivity and separating us from the motherland. It's giving us a bad idea of a representation of that continent. But for him to say that we should just forget about it, it's insulting. And I feel like white people who were, and even today covertly, are still oppressing us, but it is done so subtle that many of us miss it. It is hypocritical for them to say or ask us, why do we make everything about race? Or why do we seek reparations? Or why do we think we deserve it? And this is why I think we should all collectively respond that we need to remind them that they made race important. We are simply exhibiting symptoms of the disease. And they created this disease and spread it around the entire world. Now you don't take a people, steal them, and remove all knowledge of self and expect us to simply expect nothing from you for what you have done. You owe us, and the debt is due. And just as every other person, every other people wanted reparations, we deserve it. We earned it. We built this country. We had to, and we're still trying to gather ourselves and get back to the people that we once were. So for them to tell and speak as if we have no right and should just simply move on and not request or seek our reparations or demand our reparations, it's just asinine. Now, Akon did a lot of talking about his success, but he seems to forget that black people here in America fought for civil rights and human rights that he benefits from, and that his fame and his fortune would not exist today had it not been for our fight here in America for basic civil rights. Akon is one of those people that mimicked the black men that are here in America. They mimicked because he came here. Why did you come here, Akon? You were there, you never lost knowledge of yourself in your wonderful country. Why were you here? That's my question. Now, many of us have forgotten the marching, the sacrifice, the Jim Crow, and the tremendous strength that it took to take on this oppressor. And we like to lay down our legacy, and sometimes we want to sweep it on the rug, and we are told, we're the only people that are told, forget about it, move on. But I don't hear you telling the Japanese, the Jewish people, so on, the Indians, forget about it, move on. You don't tell them that, so it's disrespectful to tell us we deserve our reparations, and we're going to continue to fight for our reparations. Because we have a legacy here, and this entire place is drenched in our people's blood. Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Elijah Muhammad, all of these people sacrificed, and they demanded that we have a better quality of life right here. And we wanted better treatment. So for Akon or any other person, any other black person or white person, to have the audacity to say that we who have survived the worst kind of Holocaust should just forget it, it is disrespectful and thoughtless rhetoric. Now, I want to know, Mr. Black, would you go tell your Jewish ancestors? Akon, would you go tell the Jewish people to forget their Holocaust? Forget what they have experienced? Funny how I didn't hear him say that. As many of them say, we can also learn from it. Never forget it. Never forget it. Remind people. This soil, like I said, the soil is drenched in our ancestors' blood. And we can't give up the fight for getting what is owed to us. So we don't need people like Akon, even though he is a black man. He is part of the black nation of people. But we don't need those who don't know or understand or appreciate our struggle and sacrifice, even though they benefit from telling us what is in our best interest. We need you to support us, shut up, or back off. But we don't need you to tell us what is in our best interest. That is for us to decide. Now, there are so many things that have it's so raveled up within our minds and our bodies as black people here that the society has put in us that came under the head of white supremacy, under their agenda. One of which is the education system. Media, food, clothing, all of these things have contributed and continue to contribute to our lives. Even though this stuff is not really native to us, it has become our life, and this is what we know. So even if we were to implant ourselves in Africa, it would also, we would be out of place. It would seem odd to us or unfamiliar. It doesn't mean we couldn't learn it, but it just means that we have to accept that this is our land too. Africa is our motherland, but this is our land too. We're owning it. It's ours. So we deserve reparations, and we will eventually get those reparations. But I just find it disrespectful for Akon to say what he said. I mean, it's like a slap in the face almost. The need to speak on it. And I don't know why so many people think that they have a right to come and tell us what is in our best interest. I find it silly talk. It's somehow they think that they are superior. So I can go tell black people whatever I want to say to them and just get over it and move on, and there are not supposed to be any consequences. But when we hear our people, because Akon is still of the black nation, as I said before, but when we hear them speaking like this, it lets us know that he is also a victim of having a colonized mind. He has a slave mentality. And the sad part is he has no clue. I think that his response came from this whitewash ignorance and carelessness that has we have become accustomed to when we're dealing with black people. It's like to us and good for us. It's ignored. Now we were blessed with melanin. It's a blessing. And people, I think we're those people that are spoken about in the Bible. When they talk about the strange people in a strange land that is spoken of in the Bible, I think that is us indeed. And when you read about the dry bones and the question asks, can these dry bones live? Yes, these dry bones shall live. And now that we are rallying my brother Akon, I invite you to take the time to learn your nation's role in our suffrage and understand that we don't need, nor do we seek your approval to fight for what is owed to us. Now we will continue to demand our reparations from the United States. Don't forget it. But if it is not your intentions to support us in our efforts we would ask that you keep your suggestions and your recommendations on what is best for the descendants of slaves to yourself. Where is our dual citizenship in Africa? And our reparations for the pain that we endured at the hands of some of our own people?